On the 15th of March 2025, Toxicator officially opened to the public at Alton Towers Resort, and in today's video I'm going to be starting a new series called What's Next, where I basically take a look at certain events going on around the world and kind of analyse what could happen next to the parks and how they could change things in the future. So if you do go on to enjoy this video and the series, it would be much appreciated if you could subscribe to the channel. So yeah, here we go. So before we talk about the future, you have to talk about the present day. So first of all, we're going to talk about the opening day itself and kind of how it went, because it was safe to say that Alton Towers had a pretty crap opening day, with many rides closed throughout the day, and kind of just generally it was very poor. With Toxicator as itself was actually not too bad, but yeah, the rest of the rides weren't up to scratch. Now obviously, Alton Towers hasn't been in the best of states in the last few years with operations and ride availability and stuff like that, with, you know, Skyride and Hex being like closed for the last 2 years. So, you know, it's been a very tough time for them in terms of kind of getting the rides operational and running to their best efficiencies and standards. So in terms of other flat rides, you know, that they could add for the future, it was kind of, you know, because they took out Flavio's at the end of last year, and also the Blade. So that's 2 rides that have gone, although Flavio's was a temporary ride, so I guess you could say that it wasn't really a permanent ride, because that's how the opposite works. Okay, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I think obviously the Retro Squad left at the end of 2023, which is to everyone's delight, even though it should have probably gone at 2022 or even 2021, because they never fit into the areas. And, you know, you used to have, like, say in X Sector you had like not Funk and Fly, that was in Forbidden Valley. You had Twistertron in where Enterprise was, and you had Spin Jam in where Submission used to be, and it just took over the area. Like, it just didn't like immerse you at all, because you had the conflicting music of like the 80s like music with like the theme song, and it just didn't work at all. So I really hope that Alton Towers can get some proper flat rides in, you know, maybe something to do with Oblivion and one to do with the Smiley, but, you know, that's just wishful thinking. As you know, I mean, they have put one in Toxicator, but, you know, they need a lot more. Not a lot, maybe like 4 or 5 more, but, you know, because they have took out a lot of various flat rides, like the Blade, Enterprise, Submission, as I said before, and also like Twirling Toadstool and just some others like that. So, you know, it's not really been enough like rides to kind of spread out the queues and the crowds, because, you know, when you go to a theme park, it's not just all about the coasters. You know, obviously that's what people mainly come for, but, you know, you also have to think about the side, the backups. You know what I'm talking about. So, you know, it's just a nice, because when you go down to X Sector, all you have is the 2 coasters, and, you know, it'd just be nice to kind of spread out the crowds, because if everyone just goes to Oblivion and Smiler, then it just kind of doesn't leave any queues or any like crowd spacing to anyone else. So the other thing I have to talk about is just kind of the main coasters in general and how they could change in the future. So just to get these out of the way, Smiler, Wickerman, Nemesis, and 13 are not going anywhere. That is for certain. The only change that I would see to any of them is the Smiler getting lap bars potentially. There was rumoured that the Smiler was actually going to get lap bars in 2013, but then the Merlin, because they wanted more headbanging, said no, we must make the rider more safe and rough as a result. So they actually put over the shoulders, which obviously is subtracts from the ride experience, but it's not too bad if you just put your head forward. So yeah, now we move on to Spinball Whizzer. So obviously, you know, you have to, because people say, oh, Mac Extreme Spin, and that is just not going to happen unless they manage to bring the height requirement down. Because obviously, you know, even though every enthusiast is like, oh my god, we need Max Extreme Spin, we need a hypercoaster, we need this, we need that, you know, you have to think about the progression stages, because you need to think about, like, you know, if you can't jump from CBeebies Land to Smiler, you know, you have to think about the progression steps. You know, I remember riding Spinball for the first time, being like, oh my god, now I want to do this and that. So, you know, you have to think about the progression from like Octonauts to, you know, this Runaway Mine Train and so forth and so on and so forth. So, you know, it just kind of, they need those family rides to kind of keep it in there, and I don't think they're going to remove Spinball in the near future, because, you know, they installed a new computer system in there last year or a few years ago. So yeah, that's not really going to change. So yeah, I think that's going to be the same for a while. So the next ride we have to talk about is Rita, the next ride opposite 13. Now obviously, I do not think, I mean, as hydraulic launches are going out of fashion, I would not be surprised if it was removed by the end of the decade, because, you know, hydraulic launches are going out of fashion with, you know, King of the Car, Top Thrill Dragster, etc. So we'll have to see what happens with that. It could be used for a much better intermin with LSMs, in my opinion. But it's just interesting. It would just be interesting to see what Alton Towers does with the future spending of the resort. And no longer spa. So yeah, I think it's not gonna, sorry for scratching. So yeah, that's not really gonna change unless Alton Towers decide to make the decision to remove it, because they could put something better in there, because it is probably the worst 1.4 meter coaster out of all of them at Alton Towers. So the next ride I have to talk about is Galactica. Now obviously this was rumoured to be rethemed for 2025, but I think due to budget cut, we know Alton Towers loves a good budget cut, and Merlin in general, to be fair, because we all know of Merlin's recent struggles. I'll put the video link to the video to talk about Merlin in the top right. So yeah, I think Galactica does need a retheme. It just does not fit into the area at all, and even with the theme it does have at the moment, it's just kind of peeling off and not really been maintained well, which could be a sign that it's going to get rethemed in the near future. But you know, we'll have to see about that. I would love to see kind of either like an escape helicopter like vehicle type, you know, theme, but you know, it also could be like an opposition to the Nemesis creature, but you know, it would just be great to see some sort of opposite theme to the creature, because, you know, Toxicator is kind of the saliva and that, and the Nemesis is the thing itself. So I would love to see kind of an opposition, like a binary opposite to the actual Nemesis itself. But you have to see what happens with that. I would love to see like you know, 2024 with Nemesis Reborn and 2025 Toxicator. You know, would it be out of the question to see a 2026 for Galactica, like a 3-stage plan for the whole of Forbidden Valley? We'll have to see about that. But the other coaster we have to talk about, which is not currently being built at the moment, is Project Horizon, which is the indoor coaster being supposedly being built out where Coaster Corner used to be, which had like the Beast and stuff like that. Obviously I'm too young to have been there when it was around, but it seemed like quite a nice area, so it would be good to see some redevelopment on that land, because it's not the busiest area at the park at the moment, because all we have around there is the old dungeons. I say old, who knows, probably not, they won't come back in the future, I highly doubt it. But and they also have David Walliams, which also could be rethemed in the future, because that IP isn't really popular at the moment. I mean, obviously he's still writing new books and stuff, but I don't think that IP is kind of a very everlasting, if you know what I mean. So I think that could be changed as well, and it would be nice to see kind of a whole revamp of that area with the new coaster, and then also the David Walliams and Cloud Cuckoo landing everywhere, like around that, like Fountain Square and stuff like that. So it would be interesting to see what happens with that. In terms of what Project Horizon could be, I'm probably thinking something similar to Chessington with their new indoor coaster for 2027 of themed to Minecraft. You know, with like the indoor effects and like something like the Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Orlando, one of the best indoor coasters in the whole world in my opinion. So yeah, we'll have to see where that goes in development. But yeah, I think that is everything I've covered in today's video. So if you did enjoy it, then please leave a comment, like. So I do not care what you do, just please help the channel in any way you can. So if you do enjoy the series, and leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed. I said that before, I'm sorry. You don't have to subscribe. If you do, it'll just be like whatever. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.